Sorry for the late start, everybody. Had to go do medical things and then shop. All right, let's get into it. Hello, good afternoon, good time zone. Let's get into it. So, last week it was more of the same, kind of like we'd come off of thaw. Deer season's over, so I was able to get back out and start doing things. But overall, we got out and I did a lot of work to fix up a few different areas. A couple from this video kind of bothered me, so also trying to do more to vary up the path that I take. So here I'm thinking about going this way, but then quickly decide to go this way. And I'm going to try to continue going this way, because there's just a lot of neat things as we change paths and get more out of what we're doing here. Too much. Perspective is important. As things are lighter and darker, and as we try different spaces and areas, we find different ways about going through things. And often in life, when you're in a space and it feels like you're having trouble, it might be that you're just going the wrong way or in the wrong kind of flow. So yeah, this space bothered me a lot, and I show off how to break vines. Super helpful. But I want to do more with this path. Unfortunately, I have to do a lot more water management because that area floods, as you'll see in the next set. It's been good getting out and dealing with a lot of the storm damage, being some of the storm damage, and generally working with the water to try to make it flow better. Because too often spaces are flooded when they have paths, but they're very loose paths. So if they get to be pronounced a little bit more, it resolves a lot of the issues. But it's also been generally stormy. So I also tried to engage with a few other hobbies and things because it's important to do that. I feel like you kind of forget you like certain things if you don't do them on a regular basis. So it's the fight against depression, really, to like let yourself like things, let yourself forget about the obstacles and like reasons why you quit. We've had a lot of coyotes in the past week as well, and I'm curious about different spots like that where maybe they got something, a bunny or deer pieces. So, it's getting nicer. I'm always really happy to look at last week, this week, and really kind of get a better view on what's different, what's doing better, what's doing worse. It's great. So, like I said, I was a little late today. I had to get blood work. Um, and then I was running low on food stuff, so I went and did my big shop. Got that all taken care of. It's good. Really productive trip. Immediately packaged everything up. Did a bit of my work at making stuff easier to manage. So, like, I buy a whole ham, then I cut it up into packets, and just like freeze the rest of it, and have a packet of little ham. So I don't waste the other 2 or 3 packets. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's good to have a plan. Sometimes, like, making sure you come home with a quick meal really helps the process and lessens the issue. Gods. But overall, I feel like being able to do that makes me very thankful that I'm not in a situation where I have to rely on foraging or canning or salting, because it would be really unfortunate and everything would be a lot harder if that were the case. So, going through and showing some of the practical application of that move from earlier, really helpful. Love that for me. And even a small stick like that can really get in the way. Everything that's giving it something to tangle on is creating resistance. Even the smallest root can help stabilize a tree. So, in the converse, when you're trying to get stuff out and you're getting caught up, it's better to reduce the amount of chances that there are that something's going to give you resistance. It's important. And seeing where you're hitting stuff, also a big deal, because it's not great to bonk. There's a great meme this week I saw about cannot be trusted with the big stick. Fills my head with thoughts of bonk. And it's true. Like, you'll see me every now and again just like take a stick and whack, because it's good. Like, it's the natural state to try to bonk and break and make your life a little easier. This is why protective gear is important, and I should wear more of it when I go out. But I don't, because that would take away energy from the idea of the project, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So I need to be better at it. I need to be better about being good to me, because without me, you guys wouldn't have more of this to see. And this space would go back into rot and waste. So, for all of that, let's keep going and making spaces better. Remember, better does not mean perfect nor complete. And always live with the expectation that you will succeed. Because if you like plan on success, things like that won't happen. If you plan for failure, you're more set up for failure. But if you succeed and you aren't planning on succeeding, it might cause a failure anyway. So it's better to imagine you're going to succeed rather than just trying to hope for a little. Like in that scenario, I wasn't expecting to break that piece off like that. I wasn't expecting it to just snap off. So I was completely unprepared for the negative force of it. If I had thought it would, I would have been able to be in a better stance. I would have been prepared to catch myself. It would have worked out a little bit better. And I've been telling myself within the past week to do that, to be more prepared to succeed in these endeavors. But it's still good to temper your expectations and be aware, like, hey, this might not break. But if it does, be prepared for it. It's good to have options and be aware of your situation. I never got back to taking this all the way down. So one way of like taking care of these trees is to lift them back up and deroot them, trying to push it the other way. Or like sideways. Like all you're trying to do is get the roots unbound so that you can either take the whole thing or further remove the roots to give yourself a better item to get through. So that is a project for another day. Maybe today, maybe this week, maybe later. But it is a project for another time. So, continuing through, we've got everything back the way it was. Oh, here's a cute little mention. There are no mushrooms here. But there are this week. So, always love being able to catch stuff like that in a week-to-week basis. You can see some good deer tracks still while using this path. Yeah. I don't know what to do with this area. It's all briars and just like general nastiness. These were cute. These were frozen over little like flowery bits, seeds that meant to be caught on the wind. They just never blew off their little plant. I got tripped by a vine and still haven't learned how to better fall. And that's one that comes up more often than it should. But if I get enough practice, maybe I'll just be, well versed in falling. What then? But it's important to recharge, and even though like I did a bunch of things, like got out, I made the video, making the stream, doing all that, it's going to be good to relax. Very much notice the time that you spend and when your battery needs a recharge, being super important. It's so good to be aware of your body, what it needs and what it wants. Um, and over the past week, with it being stormy and whatnot, and with me still wanting to engage with my creativity, I actively um, decided I wanted to do some of my bardic stuff. So I went and recorded all of my favorite bardic songs. I did forget two because I didn't have access to my CD that had all the ones that I usually do. But I went and just sang them myself and recorded them, looking at some lyric lists. And it was good. It was really reminiscent of like, what songs do people like? What songs do people sing? Like, it's been ages since it felt important or relevant to have songs around a fire. And the pandemic has just really hit that hard. Like, with the Me Too movement and everything, and people coming forward about um, different politics, it's been important for the LARP communities to actively make themselves better and take care of some of these broken stairs that have been around forever. But luckily, things have happened and things have gotten better. We are making progress. So it's always good to be in a situation where that is working and is better. Whack. Yeah, I got it. So this one boggles my mind. The way that works. It's caught up in all of these different vines and things. It's just like Blaster did this other tree, but it is long since gone. Like I said, the littlest branches can get you hung up. So it's important to have a clear path and understand which way you're moving your item, as it's not always easiest. So much like bringing justice for uh, victims of sexual assault and whatnot, it's important to understand sometimes you're going to have a hard time moving through space, but it's important to do the things that are going to make life better. So we do them often as possible. I did not expect the ice portion to come with that stick. It was such a good surprise. So the creek being the way it is, and with the flooding and everything, being able to take care of some of these spaces and things that are in the way, super important. It sucks when that happens though, and something that was alive breaks in attempting to fix it, which again fits the bill for so many things. When too often we're trying to fix one aspect, it ends up unraveling so much that it no longer works. It's a shame when that happens and things just don't go the way you expect. Careful. So sometimes when you go to undam something, it just breaks off and doesn't undam at all. And you get your hands wet. So there's the thought of, well, I got my hands wet. Fuck this. I'm just going to stop. Or there's, well, fuck it. I already got my hands wet. What's a little bit more wet gonna do? So I really do need to come back there with a tool to further unstuck that because it is very stuck. And I don't think I have, and I think I know exactly what happened with that. But we will see. Because, yeah. Well, anyway, there's not much more to this video, just more of the same here. A lot of this is generally the same. Be very much more aware of why everything has a lean to it. After all the snow, piles, doing pile things. I love these waterfalls. They're so good. Especially when you get some ice. Some really good visual. Yeah. This poor little bridge system, I really need to work out something better. I'm thinking of just like having one of the longer pieces of tree or something, just like piercing it through into the land so that it wouldn't wash away, but I'm fairly certain it would just break. So I need to build like a platform for it. As you'll see in the next video, it's pretty well highlighted. You can see some of the flood path and how things are done. Trash that needs to go away. Stuff just flows in from the creek, and I'd rather be rid of it. The barrels are actually intentional. They help with when the weeds are up. It's so much easier to crush them down to get started in building a path or something. Much like you see everything kind of like crushed over because of the flooding. You can do that naturally with a barrel or something along those lines. That's supposed to be there. And if I wanted it heavier, I can fill it with some water or debris. Works really well. Make your own little signs. On to this week. And we're back. So, this week on Backyard Progression, we've got a lot more flooding. It's been storming the past couple of days, and we've gotten a couple inches of rain. So, as you can see, the creek is back into its aggressive mode, where we've just got a lot of general flooding. And in theory, I'd like to make a tributary that way, but it just doesn't want to go. And that's just the way creeks shape and things. So part of that can't do a whole lot about. But all the same, we're going to make that right path and try to get through here. And I chose kind of an awkward endpoint, almost on purpose, to kind of like better associate myself with a situation where I'm going to need to do work to come this way. So I should make that easier. Sometimes forcing yourself through a situation will help you better remember why you did that, so you can better create more easy paths for yourself. I forget where I saw it or who said it, but it was something like, if you want to find the best and most productive way to do something, you don't hire the smartest person, you hire a lazy person. So the lazy person's going to figure out how they can do it with the least amount of effort. And I think about that often, because I'm not inherently a lazy person. So I will go out of my way to do things to make my life a little bit harder. And overall, there's reason and purpose behind it. I'm trying to like work out or get my body moving in different ways or engage with different aspects. But at the same time, I'm not giving myself any favors that way. So as you can see, these are running really hard. I've deepened some of those so that those will work better. But I still need to figure out this mess. Deeper into here, where things have flooded. Well, back there, where things have flooded. So we persevere. Love the sound of the creek running. It's so good. I'm sure the people who like the change in water level matters to are not so happy down at beachfront, where flooding is actually flooding their space. But I'm going to enjoy the space that I have and what I'm working with. So, moving through. This has worked out really well, this little bridge. I really need to utilize more of these railroad ties. Make better bridges in more places. If not, at least like a platform for a bridge. So this path that I cleaned out in the creek here is going well. More of this just fallen and issues, and I noticed this little spot here. I'm able to clean that out before it becomes an issue. Always happy to do preventative work. So, oftentimes when you're pulling something and you want it to be on the other side, you could lift it up over your head and like get it to the other side, or you could spin. So I'm often a fan of spinning to do it. So like if you come like if something's here, you can then spin and like get it out. It just it works. um, I feel like I did a little bit of work in there. Sorry, nothing that like actually tracks. So love these. So good. Just the roar of the waterfall, just the way it hits. To be fair, I'd also like to be using the. The issue is, I'd love to use hydroelectrics because we have a creek, you know. But at the same time, it's only like this when it's flooding. The rest of the time, it's not all that powerful. It's kind of the same way with solar. Like, it's not super sunny most of the year or windy. Like, it's this weird situation where a lot of the green energies aren't all that effective, but I'm sure if like I went through the process and actually did it and had a little bit of each, that it would even out. I ducked this time. I did not bonk. I'm learning. So this is an interesting thing. This is my usual stepstone, and just went and was quick about it and didn't get my shoes too wet. So that was good. Didn't slip and fall and break myself. That was also good. Still need to get that out, like I said. Um, this bothered me because this is just a dead stick that fell into the ground. And it could be interesting at times seeing that, where like you'll know something wasn't there. It's like something's off here. Are are you a real tree? No, you're not a real tree. You're just a stick. And that's the way some trees will propagate. So that's always interesting. But moreover, trying to manage what I have. So you can see here, mushrooms. By no means edible. I would doubt very highly. But all the same, they're neat to see. Yeah, just no idea what to do with this space. Feel like it could just get cleaned up. I didn't trip on a vine this time, so I must have done something. Just walked in a different, slightly different path. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Seeing this branch. And that's just a lot of what I do is like in my day-to-day walk of just seeing if there's a spot that I really need to work on. A lot of the time it's just grab a stick, throw it into a pile, or move a stick from one pile to another pile. If the weather's really bad out, I've actually made like checkpoints. So like I can just go out as far as I feel like and then bring them back. It's becoming too much, I can drop them off at different checkpoints, and it's all progress. No matter how far I'm moving it forward, it's still getting moved forward. So engaging very heavily with the better mentality has been really good. It it very quickly defeats the I'm not good enough, I didn't do enough, it's not perfect, it's not ever going to be done. These kinds of thoughts are really what's the demotivating, I guess. And more oftentimes having that thought of like, okay, but it's better than it was yesterday. It's better than it was a month ago. Better than it was a year ago. And just constantly cycling up of, yeah, I did it. I did better. It's better. The ecosystem is enjoying the fact that I'm doing this. The animals are thriving, doing very well in all aspects. So I mentioned we have more coyotes around. That's a good thing. It's not, I don't see it as I'm, okay, so this was a spot that I need to work on that absolutely dammed up. But what I was saying is I want all of the different wildlife to create balance. As sure, coyotes are going to kill some deer. That's part of the whole ecosystem. Because there's no good way to get rid of the coyotes. If you kill them, they're just going to multiply even further creating a problem in your area. They're so neat in their own right of like how they're on most continents, like aggressively throughout the entire world. They've just made their presence, and the way they continue to survive is really admirable. So I don't harbor any ill will against the coyotes, even if at some point I get attacked by one or a group. I will endure. But that's just, it's a lot like when they released wolves back into different ecosystems. Like, sure, people weren't very happy about it, especially like farmers and whatnot who were getting their sheep and whatnot killed. Like, yeah, that probably shouldn't happen. Like for that to not happen. But not a whole lot you can do if you want the ecosystem to be as it should. And I feel like that's part of why I'm so upset about capitalism. Because in a more real ecosystem, people are generally thriving. They're able to get houses, they're able to house themselves, acquire food, and in general be very able to take care of themselves. However, with an oligarchy and gerontocracy, we have clearly gotten a situation where things are not as they should be. People want to hold on to all of the money and all of the power. And it's the Z and the millennials that are suffering, and they code it so strangely. Like, millennials are killing off these systems, these industries. Like, no, we don't. We aren't. We don't have enough money for these systems and industries and ways of engaging with capitalism like that anymore, because the boomers and greatest generation and all of these other ancient folk in power have made it harder for people to have money. That's the bottom line. Like, the rich should pay more of their share. The essential workers should be paid like they're essential. And it's a lot. It's This is another situation of, are you a tree or are you just debris? It was debris. So I hope that with the coming year that things get better, and I hope everyone to have a better year, and that we make things better for everyone involved. Be kind, be good. Remember to like, follow, subscribe. If you're enjoying the content on Twitch, be sure to follow. Liking the content on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Remember, exclamation mark YouTube to see that. And I did make a throne. If people are interested in that, I should probably create a little bot link for that. Because there are a few things that could be better, like my webcam and a new GoPro. Make that footage a little bit better. But thank you all for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful time. Have a great day and a better